In our last dungeon analysis, we had a good example of just playing for the keystone and how overall doesn't really matter. We literally ended that plus 26 Plaguefall with a 9.6k overall DPS, but today we're simping for boomies. And boy, does it feel good to simp for boomies.
Oh my Lanta, look at all that boomie damage. Oh, I wish I could get a boomie like that for my groups too.
I'm going to go over everything from optimizing your CD usage to doing big damage outside of your CD usage to even how to structure your route around a boomie as well. Since analyzing this specific keystone, I've really started to focus on improving my Ravenous Frenzy window, so I'm going to be pointing out some mistakes I've made and just show where we all make mistakes and we all can improve a little bit. The reason why boomkins and bear tanks go together like Twitter and people getting mad all the time is because they both have a 3-minute cooldown, and bear's cooldown literally makes them invincible. So bears can pull everything and just sit there while the boomkin just spams their CD and kills everything. So let's just check out the run. So since it's Halls of Attonement, I'm going to do the pre-key ramp and then lock out our stacks so that we can do as much damage as possible on this first pull. That's a pretty well-known trick, but if you don't know how to do it, I did make a video on it a couple weeks back. I will link that video at the end of this video. One of YouTube's main metrics is retention, and it would really help me out if you stayed watching this video and then watched that one after if you're curious how to do the trick. So if you're curious about that, I'll link it at the end of this, and I'll link it in the description as well. Right here, I could have done a better ramp. I didn't start starfiring soon enough. I did one too many sunfires here. I didn't really dump my astral power efficiently, but it's practice, you know, we'll improve. Ideally, you're targeting Shard of Halkias here and spamming starfires. Also, everything should be stacked up right underneath the shard, and you're just spamming starfires. Since Starfire's AoE range is so small, if it isn't hitting everything, you just yell at your tank. Usually our bear pulls more with that pull, but he couldn't tag the mobs below the shard platform, so he had to split it up into 2 pulls. You see that that pull ended up only being 16.8%, when in reality, it should be a 26% pull. Because we had to split it up into 2 pulls, our bear had no incarn, and it turns into a kind of sketchy middle pull that we had to do, but we made it work. You can really see just how strong Gargans are to any tank. Our tank is getting 3 stacks of the dot, and he's just having to kite around the whole time. The best we can hope for is just to keep our dots up, stay in our eclipses and Ursals when they need it. Alright, so that was quite the long pull, and we're going into a shard again. 3 minutes are back up. We're a little over 3 minutes into the key, so we're ready. Let our tank set up the pull. We're going to dot the Stoneborn. Dotting Stoneborns is good because it'll help generate astral power because the dots stay on them even though they're friendly. We're going to go into this, get our dots out, pop our CA and Ravenous, and just start building our stacks. I do IQD 2 globals too late here. I IQD on 10 seconds left on Ravenous instead of 12, which is a pretty bad mistake, and I'm not starfalling fast enough. I'm microstepping and canceling my casts, which is annoying, and I Fury of Elune a few globals too soon as well. Other than that, right out of your ramp, you just want to go right into Lunar Eclipse when there's still 4 mobs up, so you can just keep spamming Starfires and kill the AoE pack as fast as possible. We're going into an in-between pack where we don't have any CDs, so we're just going to get our dots out because we're going to be going into Lunar Eclipse ASAP. Since it's inspiring, we are going to CC off the Houndmaster, and we're going into Lunar, immediately pop Starfall, pop trees, get our Fury of Elune out, and just spam Starfires. Look how everything's perfectly tightly packed, and you just see a bunch of big numbers go off every Starfire. Now that I'm in Solar, I'm going to try to get some dots out on the higher HP things. I take a Deadly Thrust to the face, but we live those? And then notice how Tubby and Gubby come out to play right now? And you'll see my DPS spike a bit because we're in Lunar Eclipse, and I'm Starfiring, with Tubby and Gubby giving us the Shade buff. So my DPS just spikes hard right there. Tubby and Gubby are so underrated. We end this pull around 15k overall, which is honestly huge for a pull outside of our CDs. And now we have our CDs back to pull into Shard. This is our 3rd Shard pull. It's a pretty good ramp. It could have been better. Not much to say about it. I IQD 1 second too late. I Fury of Elune too late. I Fury of Elune 1 second too late. It's always hard whether you want to cancel a cast to Fury or keep the cast going and have it do 1 second too late. It's a hard balance. every single time the boomkin CDs have been up, they've been used on a massive pack. There hasn't been any compromise with a 4-pack or something that's not been the most ideal to pop on. Sometimes it's fun to jump as you cast your last star surges to pretend you're a mage doing combust. And now we're just doing Varuth. After Varuth, this is just a little pack to give us space to kite the boss. I'm also holding because our tank is not popping here as well. That's because, spoiler alert, I know that our tank is going to do a giga pull onto the boss, so there's no point to pop here. In pugs, that's why I'm a big advocate of always asking for a route first, because you can't always know when the best time for stuff is if you're not in sync with your tank. Alright, so this boss pull is some bear shit. Double Stoneborn, plus Groundskeepers, plus the middle pack, all onto the boss. It's a pretty giga pull. I feel like I did a pretty bad ramp here too. I could have done a couple wraths at the start to get some quick stacks first, and I also move a lot for no reason. I should have stood closer to the boss instead of standing towards the edge of the ring, because I keep tiptoeing and missing casts since I was afraid of being feared. These are lessons learned for next time. Positioning is just so important. Regardless, we still melt the trash, but it'd be good to know for next time. I'm also slightly lazy with my starfalls. Alkeus is rinsed, go to Echelon. Echelon's a really standard boss. It's not that hard, it's just a damage check really. Unfortunately, since we did Echelon so fast, we don't have ramp on pull, so we won't have as big of an overall here, but we'll have more boss damage, which is nice at least. Ramping up to 27 stacks with no lust and getting mastery off your IQD is not bad. One thing I noticed is that I never use trees in my Ravenous Frenzy window, which is a bad habit I need to break. It gives you a lot of AP and it does also give you a stack. Lambo Driver actually pointed it out to me in this dungeon. My reasoning for it was because I typically run with a Demon Hunter tank and I like to save trees for him in case he needs it in a moment. I realized maybe I should just start greeting more. And right here they don't let me draw a smiley face with the blood torrent circles, and I'm actually really upset in voice chat. Actually, Entred tries to bait on me because he's my homie, but nobody else tried to bait on me, so I'm pretty upset. Shout out Entred, he's the best. Why did Tubby and Gubby always spawn in danger? Literally every time I spawn in Tubby and Gubby, they're in fire, they're in poison, they're about to get swirlied. They're never just chilling. They're always in something. I feel so bad for them. So this double pull is always really fun. I wasted some globals inside my Ravenous Frenzy dotting, which is pretty cringe. And I also starfired a few globals late. I should have just started starfiring off the rip and dotted before I started my Ravenous window. No trees again for the extra AP, which is pretty cringe. And I had high AP towards the end of my ramp, so I could have done a lot better. Next, just run into Elise, get the double Stoneborn. By the way, always acquire the Stoneborns up on the platform, because as of yesterday, this bullshit happened to me. Oh! That's okay, I got boomie cheat. What was that? For this boss on Fortified, you hold your cooldowns like 90% of the time. Unless the boss is at like 50% and your cooldowns are up, you don't want to be using them because you want to save them for the next room. But on Tyran, typically you need to pump your cooldowns into Elise as well. The next room doesn't matter as much on Tyrannical, but it matters more on Fortified. Elise, really straightforward boss. It's just a time sink. Elise is dead. What I like to do is I just put one Sunfire each corner, pop my CDs, and I stand right in the middle. I Starfall instantly, and I'll just find the biggest grouping of souls, spam Starfire to be honest, and just try to kill as many as I can. We go into Lord Chamberlain, and yeah, just don't get hit forehead. Minimal movement is best. You can wild charge every statue and you'll be fine. That's typically what I like to do. I don't like to just movement step them because that's kind of yikes. I just like to wild charge every single one and I always live them. Ramping this boss, you just kind of gotta send it. Lust won't always line up with it, but you just kind of gotta do whatever. And in terms of soaking, I typically just back up the tank in whichever corner in case they sometimes misalign for the double soak. If your healer is really hurting, you can pop heart and try to double heal on like a tyrannical week, but on fortified, your healer should be fine. And you see what happens when you try to sidestep, you just get hit. Sag. But that's how you do 16k overall in a halls, when your tank and your group simps for you. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to be streaming a ton on Twitch these upcoming couple of weeks, because we got the new patch coming out. We got a whole bunch of stuff coming out. You can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Shew, Twitter, twitter.com/Shew. Wow. You can like, comment, subscribe here. That would really help me out. We're already really close to YouTube partnership, which is crazy. I didn't expect to get that anywhere near this close a time. So I'm really grateful for all the support. And if you would like to check out that boomie pre-key ramp video, it's here. And if you'd like to check out the last video I did about weak ores and stuff, it's here. Thank you.